Welcome back. Bank Zero, Yoco and 227 were ranked among the top fintech companies in the world. According to CNBC and Statista, the 200 best fintech companies range from neobanking to digital wealth management to alternative financing. As part of their research, CNBC and Statista analysed a set of key performance indicators, including the number of users, volumes and revenues, to determine which fintech companies were the best. A senior producer and presenter of a network, the SABC's News Channel's technology program, Siphumelele Zondi, joins us via our Zoom link. Siphumelele, thank you so much for joining us here on the late edition. Of course, those three companies, those three fintech companies, which are Bank Zero, Yoco and 227. Tell us more about those three companies.
Well, yeah, so Yoco, I think a lot of people, if you've ever bought goods from like the markets that people go to, the Saturday markets, the Sunday markets, when you're buying goods like your pillows, like your food, you probably would have come into contact with a Yoco card machine. So it's those machines that get used by merchants. And when they came into the markets, they were filling in that gap, because what they realized is that those merchants were still only taking cash, and they didn't have a solution that helped them take cards, whereas a lot of us take used cards. Actually, I once came across a car guard in Parkhurst. When I said I didn't have cash, he said, "I have a Yoco machine. You can tap your tip to me for looking after your car." And then there's 227. 227 helps people budget when, for example, they basically figure out where your money goes. They help you with your spending, so you can digitally work out your spending and you can spend your money better. And then there's also Bank Zero. Now they are targeting businesses, especially your small businesses, and in order for you to do digital transactions. Up until recently, what would be interesting is that you couldn't really deposit money into a Bank Zero account apart from moving it from digitally from your other bank accounts, but now you can. So they're working with a number of supermarkets, so you can then deposit money in that manner. So these are innovative solutions that answer to South Africa's, I suppose, unique problems.
And one would say that three South African fintech companies, ranked amongst the best in the world. Clearly, this is good news for South Africa, and we're doing something right.
Oh, totally. It's something big. And also it shows that we're quite innovative when it comes to the tech space and the fintech space specifically, because we tend to doubt the kind of innovation that comes out of South Africa. And we sometimes think that tech innovation is something that is not us. You'd remember that, for example, the Please Call Me service that came out of South Africa's Nkosana Makate. Phone credits, for example, the fact that you can top up your phone and you can use airtime. That's a South African innovation. And so there are now newer innovations that are currently being used. And what's big about this is that some of the some of the fintech solutions that these are that were named in this list include, like, for example, Tencent from China. A lot of people would have heard of Tencent. PayPal, for example, which is used to deposit and withdraw money and move money around, especially in America. So they're part of a list that has some big solutions from big countries in the world. And this is no small feat at all. This is huge.
Siphumelele, what does this, this milestone then mean for South Africa and our tech industry as a whole?
It means that it's, yes, it is in its infancy, but it basically shows that South Africans, especially in the tech sector, are trying to figure out where the issues are that people are facing, and they're trying to solve those unique issues that people are facing, and coming up with new ways. For example, when you look at banking solutions, the big banks have done things in a particular way for a very long time, and there are players who are looking at where the gap gaps are that the big banks were not filling. And they are going there. And when you think of merchants, for example, it could be that could be using a Yoco machine. That is a spaza shop in a township. And that's something that's unique to a lot of townships in South Africa. And that also means that if those that want to invest, for that your venture capitalists, there are solutions locally that they can put their money in that are being recognized internationally, and that are likely going to be the next big thing internationally as well.
And I know, Siphumelele, you've taken us through, these three companies and exactly what they do. Maybe you can just tell us what were the contributing factors here in terms of them, being ranked as some of the best in the world.
I think the one thing that you'll think of, if you think, let's say, of Yoco has gone internationally to look for all kinds of funding, venture capitalist funding, because of offerings that are tailor-made to certain markets and certain gaps, filling in certain gaps in the markets, and especially small businesses, because you often hear those small businesses saying that, one, it's hard to start out, it's hard for them to open business accounts, and the fact that they have these solutions, like a solution that would come from Bank Zero, for example, that does not require a lot of money from them. They can move money from existing banks. Now they can go to a supermarket. They don't have to have a lot of money. They don't have to be a big company. That means that it can then allow people who want to get into entrepreneurship and want to open their small businesses have alternative methods that require pretty much a smartphone that's in their pockets in order for them to figure out new ways to get into entrepreneurship and continue solving those problems that we have that are unique to us South Africans. And that's basically what they were looking at. Are these the solutions that are answering to the needs of the people of that particular area?